we're going to work on the air cleaner. I wanted to work on turn signal wires, but I forgot my plugs at the garage, so we'll have to do those another day. We're giving Bagels a couple treats. No marshmallows this morning. She already had those. So this is our air cleaner. We got to cut some of this off. And we may start working on a new RC car project. I already had this air cleaner from when I had dual quads on my pickup truck. So our theory is to put some tape around it and cut it off. It's too tall for the Falcon right now. There goes Bagels. So we're going to try to put some tape around this and mark it and cut it off with a cutoff wheel. Alright, so we tried different types of tape. No luck at all. We took our caliper, put our 1.5 inch out there, scraped the line all the way around. So now we're going to try to mark this line somehow. It may work, it may not. We may be destroying this velocity stack, but I had paid like $50 for this thing years ago. Something like that. It might have been 30. I don't know. And when we were set up at a swap meet last month, I had it out there for sale for $20. And a couple guys came by and offered me $5. Well, for $5, if that's all it's worth, I'm not losing much if I do destroy it. I can make another base and just use that and not have the velocity stack part. So, before we throw this thing out, we're going to try to make this work. Alright, so we found some striping tape I use on RC cars, and it's working to tape the line. Bagels is helping. There she goes. Stole the treat and hauled ass. Bagels just stole another treat. So, we got our 1.5 inch line on here. And so now on this side, we got to cut it all the way around. This starts to flare up, but hopefully I'm just at the edge. So now I'm going to get my little Ryobi Dremel tool with a little cutoff wheel, and hopefully I can stay pretty close to that and just trim it around. So, everybody wants to know, well, not everybody, my wife, what I do in the morning. So, I take some of these little marshmallows, rip them in half. And this is a morning ritual. It's always 3. I don't know why. I do it in the mornings, when I come home from work, and when I come home from the shop. I end up with 6 little pieces. And this little heathen cat goes crazy for them. She does eat them. Sometimes she just collects them up. And then she eats them all at once. And sometimes she just eats them. Sometimes she doesn't come back. And this is what I do first thing in the morning usually. Watch for this cat to go crazy. And if I just rip them in half and put them in a pile, she doesn't like them. You have to throw them at her. Last one, Bagels. And then she cries and wants more. But I pretty much stop there. That's my cat, Bagels, the little diabetic. Junk food junkie, just like me. Alright, it's Wednesday. We're not going to the garage today. We've been doing side work this week. And now we're going to change the oil in the little go-kart. There's some more of our fleet. A Jeep and an Oldsmobile. Those are the derelict cars. And there's the side money truck. Almost time to scrub that thing up for summer. Alright, I don't know what the hell kind of engine's in this little car. A little one. But there's an oil filter down there and an oil drain. And that's what we're going to do now. Let's get a jack, a drain pan, and all the crap. Well, we did the oil change on a little Fiesta. Now we're doing one on this thing. This is the neighbor Sean's car. I don't know what the hell it is. It's smashed. He's some kind of electrical comedian. If you want to see him, he's in Akron somewhere doing electrical comedian stuff.
Gang shit. Sean Brown, follow me on Facebook.
Hopefully he's funnier than he can drive, because obviously there's an issue with that. But hopefully it works out for him. So we're going to get on to this headache now. I don't even know what this is. This is some kind of Japanese car, I think.
It's Korean.
It's Korean.
North Korea.
North Korea. Is this a Kia?
It's a Hyundai Velociter.
It's a Hyundai, which is like a Kia sports car, I guess.
Velociraptor is what we call it.
Yeah, it's wrecked beyond all recognition, but that's okay.
It's not good.
Alright, this time around, Soda wants to be in the video for some reason. She's never around. She's the old grandma. 16, 17 years old, 18, I don't know. Wife's had it forever. So, these are the turn signal wires. We had these plugs laying in the garage that are the same as this. So we're going to solder some wire on it. This will go down to the actual turn signal park light in the front. But this wire on both of them is brittle and breaking, so we got to repair it. So that's the plan for now. It's not a very difficult job, so we should be able to handle it, no problem. Alright. Took care of some cats. Now we're going to get back to this. I use this auto parts store shrink tube. Nothing fancy. But I don't need a piece that long, I hope. So I'm going to cut it in half. We got a cat here trying to participate. Good old Soda. So, Bagels will be back up here in a second. She likes wires. What are you doing, Soda? She wants a towel on there. I know what she wants. Let me get this one done, and I'll get you one, okay? And I'm sure there's a professional soldering way. I kind of intertwine, twist them together. Take your soldering iron, maybe. dead battery. And I solder it on in. And I rotate it around, make sure I got all the sides. Try to make sure there's nothing gonna catch on the shrink tube when I shove it in there. Get your little Bic lighter. Once it's good and soldered, shove your little shrink tubey on there. Give her a little zippity doo. One down. I did write down this so that it would go the same way. White wire is the green wire, which became the purple wire. And this is just some, it's new wire, but it's just scrap pieces I had laying around, nothing special. Trying to do this car on the cheap, which isn't working out very well. So our next one is the black one. And all I do is strip it off, twist it and solder it. Let's get these done. Alright, so we finally got this thing cut off. That's our velocity stack we cut 1.5 inches off of. Our air cleaner will now fit. Hopefully it'll clear the hood. If not, we're going to make a whole different one of these. We got our front turn signal lights made and labeled. Well, we got one labeled. I'll have to label the other one still. And that'll be it for this morning. We will continue this tonight at the garage. Well, this is our list. We haven't been around in a couple days. Doing some side work, Valentine's Day, all that crap. Hopefully Mike will be here in a little bit. He's going to start putting the shifter in, and I'm going to get continuing on my list. Hopefully we'll get some stuff knocked out. We're running out of time here. We have a while before the Midwest drags, but that Piston and Power show is right around the corner. We got to get busy. Wish us luck. Alright, so this is where we left off. Hopefully our trimmed up air cleaner will work. And I can start getting these wires and fuel pump buttoned up, and we'll get the shifter in and get this thing on the ground. Let's see what we can do. We have to reclock that fuel pump. I clocked the output, but I didn't clock the input, and it's in the way of the radiator hose now, so got to do a little more work. But it's coming. Well, we got the lower radiator hose figured out. It is really close to the fuel pump. I'm talking, it's a hair away. Fuel lines are going to be super tight, but it'll work. Got the turn signals and cotter pins and grease and all that on this side done. Wheels ready to go back on. Mike's under there mounting the seat to mount the shifter and shifter cable and all that good stuff. Things are happening day by day. He's kind of a quiet feller. He don't talk or do nothing. He just drinks beer and does what he does. Alright, so here's our list for today. We're going to try to get a couple of those grease fittings with the grease gun that wouldn't take grease. We're going to mount the carburetor. return line, fuel line. I guess it's not a return line. We got to turn it around. We're going to mount the coil. Hopefully the fuel line from the pump up to the carburetor with a filter. Hopefully the temp sensor, oil pressure gauge. Hopefully the positive power block. A fuse for the car. Hopefully we'll wire the coil. The fan power and the engine ground. We're going to try like hell at least. Let's see what we can get done. So I think we're going to start with the carburetor stuff and the coil. So we're working on the fuel line. So we're comparing the hole in this to the hole in that. They're different. Not a lot different. One is 3/8 and one is 4/8, I guess you would say, ½ inch. Debating on whether I want to get a new one of these or if I want to leave it as is. I think we're going to run it as is to stay on the cheaper side. If it becomes a problem, we'll change it. Seems like a plan to me. Alright, so we're working on our fuel system so we can get the torque limiter and everything put in. So far I think this is going to work. The coil wire will come over here and hook right there. So now we got this bracket we made. It's not ideal, it's not beautiful, but I can still time the motor. I can pull the distributor out if I need to without a lot of headaches. And all I got to do is take out this 1/4 20 bolt and I'll be able to wiggle the fuel line out of the way. We're going to mount the coil over here. We were going to put it here, but there's too much going on right there. So next up is we're going to make a line from there to here and from here to there. These will get extended to the coil. Temperature gauge is in. And then we can start getting some of this. All this started with how to route this line so it wasn't in the way of anything. We'll zip tie it to this little hole down here. There's a little hole right there. We can zip tie the oil line to hold it still. And make our way to the motor. Hopefully this works out okay. So, right now we're making a coil wire. We got to put an end on it. We got to put these pieces on there. So, how I do that, I have some Taylor crimpers right here and strippers. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Here. This is the other end of this wire that we're not using. And we can give you a clue as to how we do that. You just crimp this bad boy as far down as you want. Well, maybe. I haven't used these ones in a while. Like so. Fold it over, crimp it on. I don't normally use the power ones. I normally use this one where I can control what's happening. So, I give it a twist and a pull. So now we got to put it in there, but before we do that, we got to feed this bad boy into there, which I use a little bit of lube Get her all lubed up. And start shoving her in. You can lube up the wire end too. I've even used grease on them. Grease sometimes works a little better. Once you get it shoved in there, you got to rotate it to get it to make a 90. I spin it, and once it starts coming up, we're good. Spray some more lube in it. It takes a lot to get that in there. You'd think after all these years somebody would have came up with an easier way to do this, but... And they may have. I just don't know what it is. Silicone spray works a little better. Going. Alright, let's try a little grease. Grease doesn't dry up. Well, our blaster didn't work so well this time. So now we're going to try a little bit of grease. Seems to be going better. As long as we keep her lubed up and keep shoving. Oh, that went a lot better. But now we got to get a towel and wipe off the excess grease. Once we get that on, we know that's going to bend this away. So we're going to want to put this. You want to fold that part over. Put that on there. Then you can use these bad boys here. Get them put in there like so. Shove your wire all the way in. Then you just want to crimp it down till it stops. And there you have it, a crimped ignition wire. Then you just want to pull your greased up boot back over top of it that dried off. There you go. Then you can shove that in your coil. And so it was a good day in the garage. We got quite a bit done. We got all our fuel to the carburetor done. From the fuel pump over. This is NHRA approved push lock fuel line. We got our distributor figured out. We got a bracket made with enough room so you can still get the distributor in and out and time it. We got the coil mounted. We got all this just to run the oil line. We got the temperature gauge hooked up. We got all the wiring on this side figured out. This past week we got the shifter hooked up. We got the driver's side seat bolted in. Neutral safety's all hooked up. All we got left to do is finish the oil gauge. That gave us a little bit of a fit today. Mats and a gas pedal, and bolt the passenger seat down, and the interior is done. So it was a pretty good day over here at Side Money Garage. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Leave us a comment. Do something already, will you? On a side note, we did get a gift from Farmer Gary, a subscriber. I don't know if he's worried about my vision or thinks I'm old as dirt, but thanks, Farmer Gary.